Okay. You get an A for effort.
And I'm recording.
When you hear the quote, "You can't buy love, but you can rescue it," I automatically think of dogs, cats, animals, pets, right? What else can you rescue and have love at the same time? Animal shelters all across the United States are pleading for help. They're asking you to adopt. Don't shop. I was skeptical too. Before I had my 2 new dogs, we had 2 other dogs that passed away, and we found ourselves at a shelter. There, we found our forever puppies. Not quite puppies, but there are puppies. Today I'm going to talk to you about the issues that shelters are facing, the causes for these issues, and how we can lessen it. Overcrowding is happening all across the United States at all different rescues and shelters. With the overcrowding comes a shortage in necessities and food. And not just foods and necessities, like volunteering. For example, I learned recently that in shelters, dogs are only out of their kennel for 1 hour a day. And with a shortage of volunteers, they're not even getting that. It's sad. And this is not just for the older dogs. This is puppies and kittens as well. According to the shelter animal counts for 2023, 690,000 animals were euthanized in shelters across the U.S. Why? Because some puppies, some kittens, they just don't find their forever homes. Unfortunately, to make space for other dogs and cats, the older ones have to get put down. You may be asking yourself, how did we get here? There's a few causes. Buying animals from pet stores or breeders, or the people that just buy animals, pit bulls for example, and breed them. And once they're done, they throw them out in the streets. They don't all get surrendered, and they don't all find their forever homes. Other people have to surrender their animals because of behavioral issues. That's all very sad. Another thing I came across during my research was something called COVID-19 pandemic puppies. People thought the best way to kill the time was to get a pet. We're stuck home, the world shut down. What else to do to pass time? They got pets. Unfortunately, when everything went back to normal, they realized they didn't have the time to commit to taking care of the pets. The Guardian newspaper out of California noted that in 2024, the Mendoza Coast Human Society took in 694 animals that year. And that number is made up between strays, unwanted pets, and animal cruelty. With every cause, there's an effect. And with every issue, we have solutions. So how can we lessen this? How can we try? In 2023, the number of adopted pets was high. 2.6 million cats and 2.2 million dogs. These stats come from the statistic website of the 2025 accounts. Even with that number, the influx of animals at the shelters is heartbreaking. You have animals in hallways, in kennels on top of kennels. So how can we help? You can adopt. If you can't adopt, you don't have the time, you can foster. You go, fill out paperwork, you meet an animal. If it's a right match, you'll feel it, and you get to take them home and show them love until they find their forever family. If you can't do that, volunteer. Whether it is an hour to walk a dog, half hour to help them feed some animals, or donate. Across the United States, shelters and rescues have wish lists, and they're usually linked straight to Amazon, so you can buy a toy, pet food, anything they're in need of, and it goes straight to them. And any little thing is greatly appreciated. Although these suggestions seem easy, not everyone will be on board with adopting or fostering. We all have different views. For example, what's wrong with pet stores? Right? I want a brand new little puppy. I don't want a stray. I get it. We all get it, right? It's all different. But you gotta remember too, with the pet stores comes the breeding. And the people are mixed breeding and breeding just to make money. And guess what happens to these animals after a while? They end up as strays as well. And they end up at the shelters. So whether it's new versus stray, you just gotta remember these animals need love. They need a home. As we bring this to a close, everyone may not agree that adoption is the way to go. But we can't agree that this is a crisis. And there's way too many animals without homes and without people to help care for them. Helping by volunteering, donating, or even fostering help keep an animal off the street. And it keeps our hearts a little fuller, I think. Remember this saying: the greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated.